From Ohio reserves. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I just want to point out that we don't need new drilling legislation. There are 6,000 leases which have been granted by the federal government, which the oil companies are not drilling. They can drill. I now yield 2 minutes to the distinguished gentleman from Tennessee, a member of the Judiciary Committee, Mr. Cohen.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Mr. Nadler. I rise in strong support of H.R. 2116, the Crown Act. No one should be deprived of equal rights under the law because of the hair texture or style. It should never be the case that a person is denied the opportunity to participate in school sports or sent home from work just because of what their hair looks like. The most egregious example of this was a wrestling coach who had a wrestler, an African-American wrestler, have to cut his hair to perform. He wasn't allowed on the wrestling team unless his hair was cut, because the wrestling coach didn't like it. Well, the wrestling coach was ignorant of the fact that that should have been his choice. He couldn't rise to understand it. Now, Mr. Bishop and I, we share something in common. We both don't have a wonderful crown with glorious locks. And sometimes when people, particularly people who aren't too smart, get mad at me, and I imagine Mr. Bishop too, they'll say, "You bald-headed whatever." Well, I have no choice in the fact that I'm bald-headed. I had a lot of hair when I was young. I had more hair than Jordan. And no, sir. Well, I'll yield. I'll yield to you, Mr. Bishop.
I just asked, do you think anyone's ever discriminated against you because you're bald?
Well, they've said nasty things and thought it was nasty, and it's not nasty because I have no choice in the fact that I'm bald.
Did you bring a lawsuit?
And I'm just as good a human being and just as smart and just as effective and just as caring with or without hair. And the fact is, it's discrimination and it's ignorance. And African Americans have been discriminated against in many ways because of their hairstyle. It's a natural thing for African Americans, and they should not be penalized in their workplace, in sports, in school, or in any other ways. So I stand here for the Crown Act. It was originally introduced, I think, by Cedric Richmond. And I joined with him on the Judiciary Committee to support it. I'd seen problems in Tennessee when I was a state senator and supported bills there to protect people who wore braids and whatever. So I hope that people will rise up, vote yes, in understanding of other people and think beyond themselves. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman's time has expired.
Sure.